Hi everyone, and welcome to our needle felting tutorial, how to make an Easter hare. Now this is a workshop that I usually run face to face. However, as the current situation's not allowing for us to do face to face workshops, I decided I'm going to do this online tutorial. So we're going to be using some carded wool fibres today, and I'm going to show you how we're going to create this hare and even give him some Easter whiskers. Okay, so I'm going to give you a list of things that you will need. You grip those together and then we'll get going. Okay? Right, so what we will need for today's online workshop to make this lovely little hare is a foam pad to work on, to protect our surface and also to protect our needles. And you will also need a needle. What I'm using is a medium gauge, a 38 needle. You might have, it depends how much felting you've done previously, you might have needles suitable for coarse felting or fine needle felting, but as long as we've got one that's a medium needle, will be fine to do this workshop. I'm also using this carded wool, which is a coarse wool fibre. It's just got short hairs, which makes it felt quite quickly. So I'm using that, and I've chosen kind of dark browny grey colour that's also got these little white specks of fibres in them. I'm also going to need some black, just a bit of black, just to give some detail for the eyes and the nose. I've also got just a bit of light, this is actually just core wool, in case we decide we want to add any features and patches of other colour. And then likewise, I've just got a lighter brown in case I decide I want to add some onto the front of the hare. I've also got this, which is horsehair, and this is what we are going to use to do the whiskers for the hare. In the packs that I'm supplying, I will give you some of the horsehair, but if you want to go online and buy more, then I get mine from the makers. But if you decide you want to do this tutorial, then I'll just supply just enough in your pack. I'm also going to need a pair of scissors, and we are ready to go. So first thing I'm going to do is, with my chosen colour, which is the dark browny kind of grey hair, I'm going to start off, and it comes in rolls of strips like this. Okay, and I'm going to start off by making just the body. So with this project, we're going to be making it into bits, and then we're going to be putting all the bits together. So we'll make the body first, we'll make the head, we'll make the legs, we'll make the front two legs, and then we'll make the ears. And once we've got them all, we're going to attach them together. Okay, so for the body, I'm going to make a teardrop shape. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start rolling my fibres, and I'm going to work on my foam pad because it helps with the friction, and it helps it all stick together. And I'm just going to quickly lightly felt it up and down. Okay, and that's going to help it stick together as we go along. And then I'm going to keep rolling it. Now what you can see it's making a sausage shape. I'm going to keep rolling it as tightly as I can. The tighter you roll it, it will just help it make a firm shape quicker. Okay, so I'm just going to, if you can see, I'm turning it just as I'm felting it up and down, and I keep turning it because I want it to be a round shape. Okay, if I were to keep felting in the same bit over and over again, that would just completely flatten out. So I'm just going to felt up and down and then keep turning it. Okay, so another quick felt up and down. All over, never in the same place for this bit. And then I'm going to roll it all the way to the end. And I'm just going to felt it like that. Okay, now you can see already how quickly that has felted together. And you can see the kind of shape that I'm looking to get. So I want a narrower top and I want a wider bottom. So it's going to be like a teardrop, okay, or a pear if you like. So what I'm actually doing is I'm just doing this part here now. So it's going to be narrower at the top and it's going to be a little bit wider at the bottom. So to do that, I'm going to get another bit of my body colour and I'm just going to wrap it round. I'm going to concentrate on wrapping it round more towards the bottom to begin with. Okay, and then again, I'm just going to felt up and down. Okay, now actually there, you can see how natural it is. I've got a bit of hay in there. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to keep rolling. Keep rolling, and then this last little bit I'm going to come towards the top. Okay, so if I turn it round there, you can see now we've got this teardrop, but I'm going to start felting it all together now. Okay, now for those of you that are experienced with needle felting, you will know that as you go along felting, the whole thing becomes smaller. So if you're new to felting, don't worry that you're thinking you haven't got the right shape yet, because it will take time and it will work together. Okay, so if you can see, I'm turning it around and around. I'm felting it all over, up and down. So I'm felting quite evenly really at the moment. And again, that's because if you keep felting in the same place over and over again, it will just flatten out, or you might even end up with a hole. Okay, and we want it just to try and be quite even. Okay, and what you should be able to feel as you're doing this, it just becomes, you can feel it firming up, if you like. Okay, so now I'm just going to do the top bit. Okay, there we go. Okay, now that's very quickly developed the shape that we're looking for. Okay, you can see with the narrower top and then with the wider end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work a little bit more on that just by adding more bits of my wool as I require. So at the moment, I'm just going to add another little bit around the top. And the beauty of this wool is you can just add bits, felt it on, and you would never know that you've been sticking it together. It will end up just like looking like one piece. Okay, notice how I'm turning it still to make it round. It's still quite fluffy and soft here, so I'm going to have to keep working on that bit. You can work on these for hours. If you want them to be really firm, you can just felt and felt for hours and hours. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep working on my body shape. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more around the bottom. So if you do that now, and I will join you back in a few minutes, or it depends if you're going off to have a cup of tea while you're felting, and I'll just meet you back to show you where we go next. Okay, Right, there we go. I have now got my body shape for my hair. It's narrower at the top, working out wider at the bottom. But at the moment, I've still got all these fluffy bits at the bottom. But this is where we are going to felt the same area, which will flatten it out so our hair can stand up. So this is where I just hold it as you would an ice cream cone, and then just keep felting the bottom bit all over that kind of circle area at the bottom, and it will tuck all those loose wispy bits in. And as you can see, it's now flattening out, and that will help our hair stand up. Okay, right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to make the head of the hair, and if you look, that is actually the same shape, just a smaller version. So what we need to do is we need to make a small teardrop shape. Okay, so I'm going to roll just a small amount to begin with. Okay, and then the same, I'm going to add a bit more to the one end to make it a bit wider, and then I'm going to work on the shape just as I did for the body. Okay, so if you do that now, and I will meet you back when that's done. Okay, so now I'm almost there with the shape of my hare's head. And again, I've got these little wispy bits at the end, which I'm just going to do the same and felt in. But before we go any further than that, what we need to do is we need to make sure that our hare's head is in proportion with the body. So I'm just going to get, there we go, I'm going to get my body, and I'm just going to line it up and just make sure I think it's in proportion with my body, which actually I think, yeah, that's fine. Now, at the moment, his nose is a bit pointy, okay, but what you can do is you can work in from the end and push the fibres in to make it a bit shorter and a bit stumpier. But again, I can show you at the end how we'll add the finishing touches, and we can work on the shape once we've got all the body bits. Okay, so that is my hare's body and my hare's head now. Okay, if you can see that, and we're not going to join them yet, but we've got them ready. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the legs onto my hair. Okay, and again, look, you can see you can keep working up and down this for ages, but that's quite solid now. That's firmed up quite nicely. So what I'm going to do, you can see better on this one, is we're going to make the hare's hind leg. Okay, and what we will do is we will use our needle afterwards to define the shape of the leg where it's bent. Okay, but the first thing you need to do the leg is use just a little bit of the same colour, and you're just going to roll it in your hands. It's almost like you're folding up a bit of paper, okay, but I want it sort of like a rectangular shape, okay, and I'm going to just pop it there on the side. So if I'm imagining this is the front of my hair, on the side I'm just going to place that there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start, be careful of your fingers, I'm just going to start felting that around the edges, okay, but I'm pushing those fibres in through the leg that I've just attached into the body, and you can see how quickly that that sticks. So I want to make sure that I'm going to go all the way around. Okay, don't worry about any gaps or joins that you can see at the moment, because we're going to work on those. And basically what we're trying to do here is, if I pop that there, we are adding this part of the hare's leg. Okay, so we're bulking it out at the moment. Okay, so I'm just going to keep working on that for a little minute. And I just want that to be the base of what we're going to do. It's very relaxing. Okay, going all the way around at the bottom as well. That's stuck now. That's fab. Okay, so I'm going to get another bit, and I'm going to make it a bit neater, but also at the same time I'm going to be adding to the leg. So I'm just going to lie that over. Now at the moment you can't see the bit that we have just added, but once that starts being felted in, you see what this does here is it will get rid of the join that we could see, and it neatens it up a bit. Okay, so I'm just going to add that on just by felting, and all of these little wispy bits can be felted into the body. And again, you can spend as much or as little time as you want to do this. Some people like things tightly felted and work on them for hours. Others like them loosely felted with lots of fibres fraying out. Okay, so there you can see now I've got my hind leg. Now to get the definition so we can see the hind leg, this is where we're going to use the needle to do the artwork for us, if you like. So I'm going to go back round, and this is where it becomes really evident that if you keep working on the same bit, remember how I said earlier it kind of pushes it in, but if you can see, can you see clearly there? If you can see that bit, it's actually beginning to define the leg, where the leg's going to go. So it's almost like I'm drawing a line with the needle and I'm going up and down. Okay, so can you see how that's become defined now as the leg? But then where the bend in the leg is, we're also going to use the needle to create that. So I'm almost sort of drawing a line from here coming round. It's almost like a half a rainbow shape, isn't it? And I'm just going to keep felting. Let me hold it a bit closer so you can see. Can you see the definition beginning to appear there? Okay, so you can see that line. You can felt these bits as well. But we really want to be able to see the definition so it looks like the hare's leg is bent. Okay, now what I could do, if I wanted to make this bit a bit bulkier, I could, let me show you, I could just get another little bit, again roll it up, and I can just kind of stick it on the back. Okay, so if I wanted to make it, yeah, I think that looks better actually. You see here on this one where it's kind of a bit bigger at the back. All right, so I've just added a bit more there. And that's the beauty about needle felting. There's no real right or wrong. I'm giving you the basic instructions of how to felt this hare, but when you make your own, each and every one of you that make one will end up with a different result. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, if you remember, we put that bit over to join, to cover the join, whereas I've got another join there now. So you only need a few fibres, and it's almost like you're using it as a glue to stick it together. If I just put those there, if I put that there, use my needle to poke it down, there you go, that join has kind of disappeared now. And now again, I can work on making the definition between the leg. Obviously we haven't given him a foot yet. And then I'm just going to go round to make that a bit more defined again. Neaten that bit up where we've just overlaid those little fibres. Just felt these fibres in away from here. Again, you could spend ages, hours and hours on this. So relaxing, you just kind of put some music on, get completely lost in the moment. It's great for mindfulness. Okay, so I'm going to stop that bit there. Okay, so you can see now I've got the definition of the hind leg, but now we need to give him his foot. Okay, so now hares have quite long feet. So I'm going to get another bit of this. Okay, and again, you have to be close, you're working close to your finger, so be careful. But I'm just going to roll that over, and I'm going to create a flat piece here. So I'm going to felt happily away, but don't felt too long, because what will happen is that will stick to the foam. So you have to lift it up. Okay, turn it over, felt again. Now this bit we can keep felting backwards and forwards over the same bit because we want it to flatten out. Lift that up. Okay, can you see it's beginning to come to a bit of flat felt? But now I'm going to make it look more like the foot shape of the hare. Okay, so I'm going to leave this end, I'm going to leave these fibres loose because that's how we're going to attach it to the rest of the leg in a minute. But what I'm going to do here now is I'm just going to fold it again actually, because I want it to be a little bit narrower. Okay, and again, this is where you might want to line it up to your hair to make sure that your your foot is in proportion to the leg. Okay, you don't want to have a leg that's too wide. Okay, so you need to make sure that it's going to fit in line with the bit that we've just done. So I'm going to leave that loose, but then this bit I'm going to, and I'll use my needle to help me do this, I'm going to fold that over, okay, which helps the foot bit become more sturdy and firm. Okay, and again, take it off and turn it over so it doesn't stick to the foam. Okay, and then I'm going to round this bit, which is going to be like the sort of like the front of his foot. Okay, and again, just be super careful of your fingers because you are working so close to your hands here, and of course you're pushing the needle in as well, so just be super careful. Okay, but can you see how it's beginning to develop that rounded shape? And again, I'm just going to go from the sides. just working on that little bit. Okay, now just going to add just a little bit more to the front of the foot, just to give it kind of like this, the bumpy bit of where his toes are or whatever. So I'm just going to add, again I can roll a bit on my phone for that. I'm just going to add a bit there, doesn't have to be much. It's just going to make the front, so he's just going to make the front of his foot a little bit taller, just gives it a bit more shape. Okay, now you can keep working on that for as long as you want to, until you're happy with it, but I'm going to leave it there for the purpose of this online workshop, and I'm going to show you how we stick. Okay, so now we've got the hind leg and we've got the foot. Okay, that's the front where I just built it up a bit at the front, and these are the loose wispy bits. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to decide how far in front I want my foot to be. Okay, so I think I'm quite happy with it there. And then those loose bits that we left, we're just going to felt those in to the bottom of the hare. Okay, and from the side as well. Okay, and if we can see any joins, then we don't need to worry, because we'll be able to add bits to cover the joins at the end. Okay, so there I have got my first leg. I think I might need, see there, I've got a little bit of a gap there. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make that just a little bit longer, just by extending it just a little bit, just so it looks more joined up. And again, I know I've said it earlier, but that's what I love about this. If you're not quite happy with it, then you can just add bits as you go along. Okay, there we go. So I have now got my hind leg and his foot. I might work on making that a bit flatter actually. I don't want it to be too up at the front. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay, so if you remember, I got just another bit of the same colour. It's almost like you're folding a piece of paper, just wrap it up. Okay, you've got a little parcel. Now there's the front of my hare. I'm going to add that there. I'm going to move it a bit forward actually, because I still think I need a bit more here. Okay, and I'm just going to felt that in exactly the same as we did on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to felt it all over. I'm going to cover it again to get rid of any lumps and bumps and joins. And then I'm going to make another foot. So if you do that now, and I'll meet you back the other side. Okay, so now I'm just finishing adding my second foot onto my hare. Okay, so I've made sure that they're both the same height. Tried to make them as level as I can, but we can carry on working on the shape as we go along. Okay, but we've got our hare with his 2 legs and 2 feet. Okay, now I'm going to add the head on. So if you remember, we made a smaller teardrop, and I'm going to add the head on just by placing it where I want it to go. I often start with him looking upwards slightly, and then I'm just going to go from the side of the head into the body, all the way around. I'm just going to lie him down here to make it easier for me. And then I'm going to do it the other way. So I'm going from the head into the body. Okay, and that's stuck quite quickly already. And then I'm going to go from the body into the head. Okay, so there we go. There's our hare's head stuck on. Now what we want to do is we want to make that more secure, and we want to just bulk out the back a little bit and get rid of that join that we can see. So we're going to do exactly the same, which was by using some more of our wool. Okay, I might not need all of that, so I'm going to split it in half, and I'm just going to lie it over the back of my hare. It looks like he's got a funky hairstyle here. All right, so back over the join of the neck. Okay, and then this is where I'm going to felt it in. And as I said, what this will do is it will hide the join and make it look a lot neater. It will give the back of our hare's head a bit more bulk, and it will also make it a bit more secure because we've added that extra layer on. Okay, so what I tend to do is, as you can see, I'm going all the way round with my needle, just to make sure it's all in, and then I can go back and work on neatening it up. Okay, so it's still quite fluffy here at the top, so I'm just going to, I can use my fingers actually to hold it down, and then just use my needle just to push those bits in. Okay. And there we go. Okay, so there's the back of the neck secure. So now I've got that join there, I'm going to use just another little bit, again, use it like glue to stick it together. And there we go. Okay, so that's the head joined. Okay, I'm going to make my nose of my hair just look a little bit shorter, a bit like chunkier if you like, so it's not so much of a point, but then we'll be adding him a nose and some eyes as we go along. Okay, right, okay, so it's coming along nicely now. Next job is the ears. Right, for the ears, I'm going to take another bit of my wool, and we're going to make another flat piece, but this time we're going to make it wider so it's more ear shaped. Okay, but we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to leave one end loose, and then we're going to work on the actual ear shape. So I'm just going to start off just by felting it all over, getting it nice and flat. Okay, however, I'm going to stop there because, again, I don't want it to go on the foam. Got another bit there. Okay, and the more you felt, just the firmer and the sturdier it will become. Okay, I'm going to lift that up and I'm going to fold it in half, which again will make it firmer the them all with felt it. I just love that sound. Okay, lift it up. And then I'm going to do the same as I did before, just to make this bit a bit neater for the top of the ear. I'm going to use my needle to fold it over. Again, watch your fingers. To felt it like that. Okay, and then I'm going to fold these bits over here. Again, this will help to make it more firm. Okay, and then I'm just going to use my needle from the side, pushing in. So again, be careful of your fingers when you're going in. Okay, lift it up. And I'm going to do the same the other side. I'm just doing this quickly. You can spend more time on this at your leisure. Okay, so I've got my ear shape. Now, if you remember at the beginning, I said I've got some lighter colours. So if you want to give your ear a bit of an inner contrast colour, you can. So for this bit, if I'm just using the white, I'm just going to ruffle, and you only need a very few strands. Ruffle a few pieces there. And just lightly felt them in. Okay, just trying to make sure I can space them out so that they're evenly spaced rather than just a clump of white. And then just felt that in. Okay, lift that up so it doesn't stick again. Work from the side. Just to work on the shaping. And there we go. There's my one ear completed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make another one, and I'm going to try and get it as near to that side as I can. Okay, they're not going to be absolutely exact, and I'm not going to stress about it, but I want them roughly the same size so he doesn't look odd. Okay. Okay, so what I've done is I've just used my first ear and placed it on top of the second one that I'm doing, and almost use it as a bit of a template so that you can make sure that you've got a roughly similar shape. Okay, so there you go, those are two roughly similar shapes. Added a bit more of the white just because I like that bit of contrast in the ears. Okay, so there's my hare's two ears ready to go on. I'm not going to attach them yet because we've got the front legs to attach onto our hair first, but they're ready, good to go. So I'm just going to pop those to the side. Right, to make our hare's two front legs, we are going to make a sausage shape. So again, you can actually use the foam pad and your hands, just roll it, and that friction actually does the first part of the job for you. Okay, and then you're going to felt it up and down so it begins to firm up. Okay. You can also use your hands, and if you apply quite a bit of pressure, then that also helps with the felting process. Okay, you can see it's beginning to stick. Now that bit, again, I'm going to leave loose to attach it. This bit I'm going to fold over to make a nice neat front paw or foot, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then once you're happy with that, I'm going to attach that. I like to have them going sort of like just in between the other feet, the back feet, but you just want to attach that. Okay, there. And again, these fluffy bits that are here, these are just going to help the rest of the body shape just by felting those in there. Try not to felt this bit too flat, because otherwise your hare's legs will end up just standing out flat. Okay, but this is going to help him stand. Okay, so there's one done. I'm trying to keep that round. I could actually make them a bit firmer. Okay, there we go. Felt all these loose bits in, which we can do at the end, and I'm going to make another leg. Start by rolling the front leg on the foam, then use my hands. Okay, and then we'll fold this bit over. Rolling it, keep felting it up and down. There we go. And again, we could work on those for a lot longer, but I'm just want to put it against there. Now I'm noticing that that one is a little bit wider than the one I've just made. That's not a problem, because I can just go in from the sides, and as we know, when we felt it, it makes things smaller. So I can make that one a bit narrower. There we go, that looks a bit more even. And then I'm going to felt those loose bits in. Remembering not to flatten out the top of the leg, but just to work from the sides so it's sticking to the body from the sides rather than flattening out the front. Okay, so there you go. Now my hare has got his two front legs. And all these loose wispy bits that you can see, so you can spend as long as you want just going over the whole thing and just felting them in if you want a tighter finished look, or if you want to, you can leave it so it's a looser, more rustic finish, which is kind of what I did with this one here. He's got bits sticking out all over him, which actually I love the effect of that. If you get a little bit of the natural stuff in it, you can just, there we go, pull it out. Okay, so there is my hare's body now with both of his legs and his head. So what I really think makes the hair is adding the ears. Now you could just add the ears flat onto your hair like that, but what I like to do is I like to have them kind of going in a bit. So what I do is just pinch the bottom of the ear there. Okay, I'm going to put it on the side of my foam. And then I'm just going to felt that bit together. Okay, just so that has got a bit of roundness to the ear. Okay. There you go. So you can see that I've worked on shaping that ear. I'm going to do the same for the other one. So just get the bottom of the ear about the same place, line it up the same place as the first one. Pop it on the edge of my foam. There we go. And then just work your way around the edge. Okay, so now I've got the two ears together. I'm going to decide before I felt them on. There we go, so I'm going to be there. So now I'm going to put my hair, you have to be a bit careful where you place him because we don't want to squash any of his face. There we go. Those loose ends that we had at the bottom of the ear, just as we've done for when we've added all the previous bits, we're just going to felt those in, and again that will help with the strength of the hair, so his head will be even more firmly attached now. Okay, felt all those bits in, and then I'm just going to make sure that these are attached how I want them to be, just by going in from the side. There we go. So you can see, can't you? So I've still got that round bit where I pinched it and felted it together, and then you can work on this bit to felt it in. Okay, but then he's still got his rounded looking ear. Okay, so I'm going to do the same there. And there we go. Okay. There's lots of tidying up to do at the back to make him look nice and even. But again, I can do that in my time. I can work on him as much or as little as I like. Okay, right, finishing facial features. I'm going to use just a little bit of the black, and you only need, I don't know if you can see that, you only need the tiniest amount of wool. Okay, it's hardly even noticeable, but if I just roll that in my hand, you will see how quickly that makes a little nose shape. Okay, I'm going to use the friction on the foam again. Okay, now I wouldn't start working that on the foam because it's too small a piece. So I'm just going to place it, hold it where I want it to go, and then I'm just going to carefully, just gently, just felt it in from the sides. I'm not going to felt too hard because otherwise it will end up pushing it in. Okay, but can you see that now? There's his little nose shape. Okay. Again, you can use your needle just to tuck the bits in and tidy him up. Okay, and you're going to do the same with the eyes, but you're going to use even less really. So I'm probably going to split that bit. And again, there we go. You don't want too big eyes because you don't want him to be scary looking. Okay, and I'm just going to place those on the top there, just slightly felt them. There's one, and there's two. Now, if you wanted to experiment and add different bits or shapes to the eyes, then by all means, that's entirely up to you. I'm just going to leave it with the black circles for the eyes now and the nose. Okay, there we are. Oh look, you just can't help but keep on poking and prodding, or felting if we're being technical. Okay, I need to straighten that bit up. There we go. So again, as you go round your hair, you can, as I say, just work on these bits that we've done as we've gone along. So if you need to work on the shape of the leg again, you can. Remember that definition so we can see the back of his legs. I can go back and work on that. And then the final touch is we're going to give our hair some whiskers. So, join me back in a minute and I will show you how to give him whiskers. Right, as I said at the beginning, the whiskers for the hair are actually made from this horsehair, okay, which comes in long lengths. Okay, but what I have done is I've just cut a length off at the end, and I have then just threaded them through an embroidery needle. Okay, so I've got 5 strands here and I've just threaded them through, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put that the middle bit in the centre, okay, and fold them over, and I'm just going to hold that tight there because I don't want them to come off. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the hare's nose just behind the black bit that we've added. Okay, and then as I go through, I'm just going to hold on, it's a bit fiddly, I'm going to hold on to half of them, and then as we go through, can you see that? That's feeding them through, and there we have, there we are, there we have our whiskers. Okay, now if you wanted to, you can trim them. If you want to make them a bit more secure, you could just add just a simple spot of glue here. Okay, but there we have our completed Easter hair, all ready in time for you to add for your Easter decorations next week. Okay, so as I said, what I am going to do is I'm going to put a kit together which will be available on our website. It will have all of the wool that you need with the different colour variations. The kit will also have a needle. It will also have some of the horsehair. It won't, however, have the instructions as I would normally write the instructions, because I've done this tutorial so you can watch along as you felt at your leisure. You'll also need a foam block or something soft to work on. Okay, I hope you enjoy what you've seen. Have a go at making. I'd love to see your pictures. If you have any comments, please just leave your comments below and subscribe to keep up with our new tutorials, which I'm adding daily or every other day at the moment. Happy felting, happy Friday. Bye.